saying, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
It finally happened, and it didn't go down quietly. That lawsuit everyone thought would fade into background noise just exploded into the most expensive television judgment in US history. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win, she set the whole house ablaze. What began as a whisper of a headline has now erupted into a corporate catastrophe, with ABC and The View gasping for air under the weight of an $800 million judgment. This wasn't a slap on the wrist or a scandal to spin. This was a full-on media extinction event. The View, once the queen of daytime drama and trash talk, has been buried under the rubble of its own arrogance. Whoopi, gone. Joy, vanished. And Sunny? Sources say she's scrambling for legal help like her entire future is on the line, because it just might be. Meanwhile, Karoline is walking like she owns the headlines. This wasn't won on a technicality. It was a cultural detonation. A grenade lobbed straight into the heart of legacy media, and the fallout is being broadcast in real time. This isn't just karma. It's karma with cameras rolling and a mic drop finale. Once untouchable, The View is now staring down the barrel of potential. Bankruptcy. This isn't rumor, it's reality. And what's coming next? We're about to pull back the velvet curtain. The dirty emails, the panicked texts, the frantic settlement calls they never wanted the world to see. It's all coming out. Right now, there's so much winning out of Trump world, the mainstream media can't keep up. Karoline didn't just flip the script, she shredded it, torched the narrative, and sent daytime TV's loudest mouths into a tailspin they never saw coming. The moment that gavel dropped, a new era began. Bench. Boom. History made. The blast didn't just shake. VSIS. View. It detonated ABC's entire money machine in seconds. The shockwave hit Wall Street like a battering ram. ABC's parent company, once the untouchable titan of entertainment, the too-big-to-fail beast, watched its stock nosedive before most executives had even finished their first latte. Billions in market value, gone. Traders froze, analysts gawked. Financial anchors trashed their teleprompters mid-show. CNBC cut off a tech segment live on air just to scream the breaking news. An $800 million judgment shattered ABC's market confidence into dust. The sound echoing through Manhattan wasn't applause, it was sirens. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt's legal team toasted with coffee like they'd just won the Super Bowl. But inside Manhattan's glass towers, chaos detonated. Ad agencies scrambled. Panic spread like wildfire. 4 top-tier sponsors, household, names you see every commercial break, cut ties not next week, not next quarter, but immediately. One insider called it a dam break. Every passing minute, another brand vanished. Phones exploded. Boardrooms melted down. Entire campaigns dissolved. Commercial slots went dark. The View's once untouchable production budget obliterated before it had a chance to be spent. And the final dagger? Crisis insurance. Most networks rely on it when the talent implodes. But ABC? They had a carve-out. No coverage for intentional defamation. Exactly what Karoline's legal victory was built on. A deliberate, malicious hit job disguised as daytime discussion. No coverage, no safety net, no parachute. This wasn't a courtroom speed bump. This was the Titanic ripping through an iceberg with no lifeboats in sight. ABC's finance division collapsed under the weight. Emergency huddles broke out in tension-soaked boardrooms. Lawyers stormed in like EMTs at a 5-alarm inferno. Executives flipped through spreadsheets like they were trying to defuse bombs. And one terrifying question gripped everyone. Can we even survive this? Then it happened. The one word no one in corporate America wants to hear. First whispered, then pinged through Slack, and finally confirmed in leaked internal memos: bankruptcy. One junior HR rep reportedly messaged a friend in graphics. They're murmuring Chapter 11. It wasn't gossip. It was standard operating panic. Hiring frozen. Budgets gutted. Studio trips canceled. Security cut. Craft services downgraded from felt Minoan to day-old sandwiches and bitter drip coffee. The once glamorous halls of ABC were now soaked in anxiety and burnt espresso. And through the entire meltdown, Karoline Leavitt said nothing. No media parade. No gloating. No post-victory monologue, just silence. Ice-cold, calculated silence. And that silence, it cut deeper than any viral headline ever could. While ABC scrambled to patch the wreckage, Karoline stood still, calm, composed, lethal. Watching it all collapse, brick by corporate brick. She didn't just fight back, she became the storm. Don't blink. This was just the beginning.
So Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
Was nuclear. And in that moment, the jury didn't just see defamation. They saw intent, smug, unapologetic intent. That clip alone, according to legal analysts, flipped the case from a strong argument to a slam dunk. The phrase became a legal torpedo. Let her sue us for that. Wasn't just a joke. It was an admission, a dare, and it backfired in the most catastrophic way possible. After that moment, the courtroom shifted. The vibe changed. Even seasoned lawyers reportedly leaned back, in their chairs like they knew the verdict was already carved in stone. And behind the scenes, ABC executives went pale, not metaphorically, literally. Blood drained from faces, hands started shaking. That clip wasn't just the nail in the coffin, it was the blueprint for the burial. The fallout, immediate and unforgiving. PR firms dropped the View from their client lists. Talent agencies backed away like they were avoiding a house fire. Bookers for late-night shows, morning segments, and charity galas all went silent. The trio, Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny, became radioactive. No one wanted to be in the same frame, much less the same studio. And while the network tried to contain the implosion, tried to whisper promises of rebranding and redemption, Karoline Leavitt didn't flinch. She let the footage speak. She let the verdict roar. Because this wasn't just a lawsuit, it was a reckoning. The View had mocked her, underestimated her, laughed her out of the room. But in the end, it was Karoline who stood calm while the empire cracked, splintered, and finally crumbled. This wasn't just a win. It was a rewrite of who holds the power now. And from the scorched remains of daytime television's loudest voices, the message was clear. Arrogance isn't a shield, and sooner or later, every echo chamber has to face the echo, water spilling like the company's credibility, fast and irreversibly. Phones vibrated non-stop, Slack channels erupted with panic, and assistants were sprinting in and out of the room like the building was on fire. Every attempt to strategize turned into shouting matches. Someone tried to float a rebranding idea, but it was drowned out by a VP screaming, "You can't rebrand a crater." At 2:23 p.m., the CFO entered with a folder marked Internal Risk Projections. The numbers were brutal. Revenue loss projections skyrocketed, insurance denial confirmed, and investor flight already underway. Sponsors weren't just pausing, they were terminating contracts. Entire ad packages gone. One agency pulled $36 million in less than an hour. And what about Disney? Their board was already fielding investor rage. Stockholders lit up phone lines demanding answers, demanding heads. ABC wasn't just bleeding. They were hemorrhaging influence, cash, and trust. Then the wild card, a leak. Screenshots from internal Slack messages hit social media before 3 p.m. Execs mocking the lawsuit, co-hosts casually dismissing the legal threat. Hashtags exploded. By 3:35 p.m., PR firms were backing out. One notable agency walked, calling the mess terminally unspinnable. ABC's head of legal tried to control the room but couldn't talk over the chaos. Showrunners for The View were pulled into a side room and told in no uncertain terms, prepare for cancellation. The death knell wasn't confirmed, yet, but the tone was undeniable. And through it all, Karoline Leavitt, unmoved. No camera crews following her out of the courthouse. No victory speech. No smug Instagram post. Just silence and a quiet, undeniable sense of satisfaction. She didn't need to say it. Everyone already knew. The age of media giants operating without consequence was cracking, and she was holding the chisel. Back in the boardroom, as another exec demanded a miracle, someone finally said it aloud. Chapter 11. Not as a maybe, as a forecast. One of the most powerful networks in American media brought to its knees by a single lawsuit. Not because they were caught off guard, but because they were convinced they never could be. And somewhere, behind all the chaos, the glitter, the hot takes, and the self-righteous applause lines, a message had finally landed. The audience isn't as stupid as you think. Line up. That sentence stopped the room. Total silence. Because pulling the plug didn't just mean canceling The View, it meant a network-wide reset. Entire departments dissolved, dozens of shows axed, hundreds, maybe thousands of layoffs. The legacy of a billion-dollar brand disintegrating in real time. No spin, no distraction, just collapse. And while ABC's top brass stared at spreadsheets that looked more like obituaries, Karoline Leavitt remained unseen, unheard, but unmistakably present in every headline, every email chain, every panicked boardroom whisper. She had become a symbol, not just of legal victory, but of long overdue accountability. The media had mocked her, dismissed her, sneered as if the outcome was already written. But it wasn't. And now the entire industry had to reckon with a brutal, new reality, one where smugness, groupthink, and unchecked arrogance were no longer protected by fame or brand loyalty. The View, once the queen of daytime chatter, was now the cautionary tale. And the phrase on everyone's lips, from mid-level staffers to Wall Street analysts, wasn't "what's next?" It was, "How did we not see this coming?" Because the truth is, they did. That buried poll warned them. The internal memos warned them. Even a few brave voices in production warned them. But they didn't listen. They laughed. And now, they're watching it all burn down, from glitter to ashes. And Karoline? She still hasn't said a word. She doesn't need to. Storm, they never saw coming, the woman who took on the loudest room in media and turned down the volume for good. While producers scramble and executives rewrite protocols, Karoline doesn't have to say a word. Her silence echoes louder than any panel debate ever did. This isn't just a story of legal victory or media downfall. It's a pivot point. ABC didn't just miscalculate a lawsuit, they underestimated a movement. And Karoline Leavitt became the symbol of it. Calm, relentless, unshaken. The View, once the crown jewel of daytime TV, now sits in ashes. A case study in arrogance and unchecked commentary. The hosts who once mocked, interrupted, and grandstanded from behind the safety of scripted applause now face the cold clarity of consequence. And the industry? It's changed. Overnight. Networks that once ran on narrative now run on fear. Fear of being next. The apology era is over. The accountability era has arrived. Karoline didn't just sue a show. She redefined what power looks like in modern media. Not in sound bites, but in verdicts. Not in outrage, but in outcomes. And now, across boardrooms, studios and political circles, there's one name they're all whispering. Not with ridicule, but with respect. Karoline Leavitt. The culture shifted. The reckoning arrived. And she's the one who brought it. Outsider, they brushed off calm and calculated. She became the force behind a legal firestorm that tore through decades of media arrogance in just a few months. And let's be honest, this didn't start with some grand plan. It started with a smirk. One smug jab. One segment designed not to inform, but to mock. It wasn't a conversation, it was a setup. And now the only thing dismantled is The View. 800 million. Later. The scoreboard says it all. Karoline won The View. Gone, they laughed. She filed, they mocked her again. She built her case. They tried to cancel her. She delivered the receipts, and by the end, she didn't just win. She made history for millions watching, especially those silenced or belittled by the media. This wasn't just a verdict, it was vindication. No, it was poetry. Because this was never just about Karoline. It was about every person who's been talked over, condescended to, or shut down for not fitting the narrative. Karoline didn't just push back, she dismantled the game. She shattered the illusion that big networks could spin stories, attack critics, and laugh their way out. Not anymore. Now every producer is sweating, every host is second-guessing their next segment, and every network lawyer is scrambling to rewrite contracts with one clear rule. Up top, don't become The View, because Karoline just proved exactly what happens when you mock the wrong person. When receipts speak louder than ratings and quiet truth comes swinging harder than any headline. So here's the real question. Should The View be permanently canceled? Is daytime TV finally facing the reckoning? It's dodged for years, and is this the start of a new media era where spin costs millions and accountability actually wins? Let us know what you think in the comments. We're reading everything, especially the bold takes. And if this hit you, like it hit us, smash that like button. If you believe the game just changed, hit subscribe because Karoline's not done, and we're tracking every move. Share this with someone who still thinks the media is above consequences, because that illusion just shattered. The empire didn't wobble, it broke, and the one holding the hammer, Karoline Leavitt, armed with calm receipts and power they never saw coming. Stay loud, stay sharp, stay tuned, because history didn't just get challenged, it got rewritten.